Hello world, Florin here. In this tutorial we're going to see how to build this incrementing counter effect using JavaScript. So if we refresh the page, you're going to see the numbers start from 0 and they increment slowly till they reach the target. And we can set the target to whatever number we want. If you're new to the channel and you like this type of content, please consider subscribing. Now let's get to the code. Okay, so here we have an empty CodePen project, and the first thing, let's create the HTML, which will be kinda simple. We're going to have a counter class, and as an attribute, let's set data target to be the desired amount, let's say 12,000. And underneath it, let's add a span tag with whatever text we want, let's say Twitter followers. Okay, that's all for the HTML. For the CSS, some base styling, box sizing, border box. And on the body, let's center everything in the middle of the screen. So display flex, flex direction column. If we're going to have multiple counters, they will be on top of each other. Align item center and justify content center. Also add the minimum height, minimum width. Minimum height like that, 100 viewport heights, and a margin of 0. Let's change the background color and the font color to be white, like that. And I have a font here from Google Fonts. Let's use that and apply it on the body. Font family sans serif. Okay, we can't see yet the counter because it doesn't have anything. Everything will be added inside the JavaScript. First, let's target all the counters on the page. Counters, like that. Document, query, selector, all. And we target the divs with the class of counter. Next, we're going to loop over all the counters for each counter. Initially, let's set the counter to have the value of 0. Counter inner text, we're going to use that, and we'll set to 0. Okay, and the styling, so we can see it, let's increase the font size for the counter. Font size 16 pixels. Okay, now it's nice and big. Next, what we want to do is to take this number and increment it until it gets to the target value. And in order to do that, we're going to create a function here inside, const update counter, which will be initially called once. And then we're going to call it in a set timeout. But before that, we need a couple of values. So let's get the target value first. Target will be counter get attribute. Data target. So we're getting the attribute here on the div. And because it's a string, we convert it to a number, adding a plus in front. Also, let's save the value inside the counter. Const, let's save it in a C variable. Counter inner text. But because it's a string, as before, we add a plus in front. So now we have two numbers. And here we're going to have a check. If the counter is less than the target, we're going to increase the counter. Counter inner text will be C plus something. And this something will be our increment. Let's add 1, for example, for now. And we're also going to call the function again in a set timeout. Set timeout, update counter, and we set it in like 1 millisecond, so it will go pretty fast. Alright, it's not fast enough, but we'll deal with that in a moment. Let's first finish the else statement. Here in the else statement, we're going to set the inner text to be the final target value. like that. So as I said here, we're going to add an increment here, so we want it to small. And we can have a simple calculation. So let's add an increment value here, and we're going to calculate it above. The increment could be target divided by 1000, for example. And this will go much faster now until it reaches the target, and when it does, it's going to stop. If you want to go even faster, you can divide by 100. Or you can go randomly, use math.random here, multiplied by 1000. The only issue now is that you can see all the decimal points. So to remove that, we can add math.ceil around the increment here. But it's too fast, so let's change it to 100 back. And you can see it nicely counting from 0. And you can have it for multiple counters. So if you copy this over and say, I don't know, YouTube subscribers, and have it to 3000, oops, 30,000, I wish. Okay, you can see it goes to 3000. And if you want them to go at the same time, you can go and add target divided by 1000. And they'll take the same amount of time. Go faster, I don't know, maybe 500. Okay, you can play around with the numbers. This line of code is basically responsible for how fast or how slow it goes. You can take this to style it if you want to add it in a box, or I don't know, change the text. Feel free to change it however you want. I'm going to put the code in the description below. Thank you very much for checking out this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, give it a like. Let me know in the comment section what you want me to build next. And subscribe if you haven't already. I wish you have a wonderful day. See you in the next tutorial. Bye.